Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the call. It's crazily almost halfway through the year. And for 2020, I'm guessing a lot of people are going, that's probably a good thing. But there is lots of good going on. And certainly we want to make sure that we make the latter half of the year better than the first half of the year. That should always be our goal, shouldn't it? So I want to talk about how we can help doing that. Specifically, in fact, how I and maybe a few other leaders can help doing that as well. Because our goal is always to help you to achieve your goals. That's front and center. Yeah, so that's what it's about. So we've had a couple of Zoom-in events recently, haven't we? And hopefully you've all been participants on those calls. We've had not just a number of Zoom-in events, we've had a number of product launches as well, with the new KVB here out in North America, the new Siaga, the new products that were introduced over the weekend, the face mask, the cleaning products, the hand sanitizer, some great products coming out. Plenty of things to do. And it's interesting, I've noticed a trend, just before I jump into what we can do about these Zoom-in events. I've noticed a trend, and I'm not sure about yourselves, but the world has gone through something interesting. And we maybe chuckled, maybe a little arrogantly, to ourselves for being prepared on this front. When the pandemic hit and everyone got quarantined and sent home, they're all going, how do we run our businesses? What do we do? What do we do? And what's this Zoom thing that everyone is jumping on and having to use to build their businesses and to work and to connect with their staff? And we kind of chuckle to ourselves smugly and go, oh, we've been doing that for years, right? And no shift here, no faltering on our end. And we like that, perhaps, yeah? And however, there is, as we prepare for the second wave that the media are talking about, it's interesting. People have gone to, I love Zoom, to, I'm getting a little bit of Zoom fatigue, right? It's too much. It's almost become the second email scenario. When email kind of caught on a few years back, all of a sudden it became a primary source of marketing. Building up your database full of loads of people, and you could email them and have all these email campaigns and email blast. And at first, as consumers, we loved it. And then after a while, what happened? We got email fatigue. And it's like, oh, another email, click, another email, click. And we skipped through and we skipped through. And all of a sudden, the power of that medium got diminished, got diluted because of saturation. And then all of a sudden, it was like, well, it's not so much about what the medium. Content is king. It's all about content. Make sure your content counts, then you'll get the good traction that you need. And we can apply that perhaps to Zoom, right? That if we make sure our content is great, we'll get the attraction. But what we talked about before reigns true, and it's so important that it's not about the events independently. It's about the gap. Do you remember saying it's all about the gap when we talked about that a little while ago? It's the space in between the events that really makes the difference. What do we do between the Zoom-ins? We have these Zoom-in activities on the third Saturday of every month, where we'll do a presentation. We do a Tuesday call in advance of that, all about the product, hosted by Dr. Gary Lindner. Gives a great product preview and introduction to our product philosophy, our product cause, our products as a brand, and as a space for holistic well-being. Then we go in on the Saturday to the live event, the virtual event with Nikan, with each of us, where we can bring our prospects, our guests, our friends, and they can get a real great taste and a flavor for what our business is all about. And on top of that, wonderful testimonials that are inspiring and encouraging, motivating, and real great evidence that this business genuinely makes a difference. It makes a difference. And not just that it makes a difference, but in such a diverse and varied way. There are so many ways that we can measure our performance and our successes and what we're getting from Nikan, that it's important to give context to that, isn't it? And so we have at least half a dozen people on that call that will give different insights as to how Nikan has blessed and benefited them. And that's sometimes a good reminder for each of us, isn't it? But certainly, we get those testimonials, that validation from other people. So I want to talk today and follow up from what Mike talked about last night on his Aligning to Success call. Really, he really gave context, or Sophia did as well, about this principle of intent and manifesting our concrete, specific intentions about what we're striving for and what we want to achieve in life and in our business. But we need more than intent, don't we? They often say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah, we don't want to have simply good intentions. And manifesting isn't simply about sitting down and intending good things to happen. It's about combining strong intention that is clear, specific, measurable, along with aligning that with clear, concrete activity and action that we can move forward with that will bring us to where we need to be. It's the combination of this and this and these. And if I could show you my feet, I'd show you my feet as well. But you don't want to see them. But meaning, it's all about action. It's what we do, backed up with our heart, our belief, our intent, and so on. So I want to share something here. I want to share an invitation from myself, and I'm going to give other leaders on the call a chance to comment as we go through this as well, because this is something that isn't just shared by myself. I want to share a training model, not so much a training model, sorry, a coaching model. I'm going to extend an invitation to everyone on the call today, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live later on today and extend that invitation there as well. I want to extend a personal invitation where I will offer a small number of people. I can't offer it to everyone because it's very time consuming. It's one-on-one, but it's one-on-one coaching for high performance results. Okay, so for people that want real, tangible, high performance results, I want you to let me know. I'm going to go through what this coaching will look like and the model that I will use, so that you can see before you jump up and raise your hand and say, yes, I'm interested, see what that will involve and what that will require of you, what that will require of me, what that will require of us as a partnership. Okay, so I'm going to do a share screen and let's get this up. And I have just 3 slides, so I'm going to keep it nice and simple. So share screen, give me 1 second. Okay. Can I have a thumbs up, Louise or Kathleen? Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see that all right? Excellent, thank you. Okay, so I want to talk today about strategic growth. Now, here's the thing. I'm sharing a model of how I'm going to coach. And like I said, there's going to be some other leaders that may jump on here as we go throughout this call. So we'll have chance for that at the end. Let's jump in. I'll save that thought for later. So this is the model. It's the GROW model. And it's real nice and simple. There are 4 activities that we focus on here. We start by specifying what is your goal. So this is, like I said, this is a familiar for those that have worked in coaching commercially. If there's any high performance executives that reach out for performance coaches, this is a very common model that is used. They identify first, what specifically are you wanting to achieve? What is your reality? Where are you now? What are your options? And that's your willpower. What choices will you make? So this is how it will work. Like I said, I want to identify, it's not me that wants to identify. I want you to identify yourself. Raise your hand and show me. I'll go back. I just saw you raise your phone there, Kathleen. Did you want to grab a snapshot of that? Is that what you were doing? Okay, so I want you to identify yourself as someone that wants high performance results. Like I said, this is a real practical approach, very tangible, specific, clear, and it's a well-seasoned model that has been used for many years. So I'm going to identify how this works, what it looks like, and if this is something that is of interest to you, then I want you to private message me either through Facebook, through WhatsApp, or through email, and raise your hand and let me know why you should be one of the, I'm gonna limit it to 5 people. Now you can say, well, there's a ton of people in this business, Ben, and you got a lot of people in your downline. 5's not a lot. Yeah, but I've got to start somewhere, right? And I'm focused on results. And this isn't a for the rest of time thing. So as we get started, don't think I want Ben to coach me for the rest of the year. This is not a for the rest of the year or for the rest of time. This is a coaching model that will help you to get on track to achieving specific goals. So what do we do after we've done 5? We move on to another 5 and onto another 5 and so on. And like I said, there'll be other leaders that will say, hey, I'm going to do this as well. So we can spread this out. But can you imagine the value that can come when we focus on tangible, measurable activities that will generate targeted results? And if we do that in a concrete, structured way, it only takes getting a handful of people doing this before some meaningful change can really come about. So I think starting with 5 is both realistic from my end and beneficial for those that are getting the coaching along the way. If I was to set up a class, for example, and say, Tuesday morning, we've got 30 people on this call, everyone is going to go through this model, it wouldn't work for anyone. Yeah, I would diminish the impact for the individual, and for those that were participating, they just wouldn't get the same experience. So it, of necessity, needs to be a smaller number. So let's look at what this looks like. Okay, so the first part, like I said, step number 1 is to establish the goal. So I would want you to, and again, this is driven, I would ask a lot of questions, but you would do a lot of the thinking and a lot of the talking. I want you to establish what is your goal. It needs to be a SMART goal. That's an acronym. It means it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, and it's time bound. That makes it very tangible, doesn't it, as to what we're looking at. Here are some of the questions that I would be inclined to ask. How do we know when we've achieved your goal? What does it look like? How visible is that? How specific there is it? How does this fit with your, with your overall objectives? This is really important. You might have some specific goals, but how does that align with your overarching objectives of what you want to accomplish in NECAN? What does this mean? It means if you're saying, I'm a gold right now and my goal is to be a royal diamond, this process doesn't suggest that I'm going to coach you in a very focused, channeled way from gold all the way through to royal diamond in one consecutive experience, because that's a really long-term plan, isn't it? What we're saying is your overarching goal might be to get to royal diamond, but right now I'm a gold and I want to get to platinum, or I'm a platinum, but my volume has kind of fallen through in my business over the last few years. I want to get that volume back up to where it should be. I want to be paid at rank. Maybe that's a goal, for example. Or maybe my check is $500. I'd really like to get it to 1,000. And I want to get it done over the next 3 months. Yeah. So I want to start getting some really measurable, specific, time-focused goals that we can get you from where you are now to the next step. And I really just want to focus on, let's get you to the next step, get you to the next step, get you to the next step. And if we do that, what happens is confidence starts to build, and then we can take the next step and then the next one. And then before you know it, you can start running a lot more independently and more concretely towards your long-term overall objectives. Yeah. Sometimes we just get stuck, don't we? And then taking the next step feels overwhelming and disheartening. And so we don't take any step at all. I don't want that. Yeah. I don't want that at all. So step number 1, identify the SMART goal. And like I said, here are some of the questions that I ask. The next one, explore the options. And again, notice here, the team member, you, identifies the solution. And who leads the discussion? You do. So, okay, you've identified what your goal is. You made it specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, it's time sensitive. Now, what are the solutions? How are you going to get there? And who's discovering that? You are. I'm not the one that will sit there and say, here are all the things that you need to do. The learning in that process is compromised if someone else is telling you all of the solutions that you need to take. That's not how good coaching works. This is an opportunity where I will ask questions for you to help you to discover where are the solutions that can be found in building your business and achieving this goal. Key questions that I would ask to help, for example, what else could you do? So you're going to say, okay, what I can really focus on is this aspect. I need to find maybe 5 more customers or what have you. Okay, what else could you do? What are the advantages or disadvantages of this action? For example, maybe it's not enough of the action. Yeah, maybe your quantity or volume of work is underestimated. Maybe it's overestimated. Let's understand this. Let's ask some exploratory additional questions to make sure that we're fleshing out the real full amount of options that are available to you to achieve your goal. Because sometimes we can have a great goal, but if we only identify a quarter or a half of the solutions that are available for us to achieve it, then it makes it harder for that goal to become realized. So we want to flesh out all of the options to get everything on the table to give you the best chances of winning. That really comes by exploring that front and center. What do you need to stop doing to achieve this goal? I love that question, because we often talk about what we need to start doing in order to achieve our goals. But what's going on in my life right now or in my business that I need to stop so that I can focus myself on achieving this goal? What obstacles stand in my way? What are the barriers? This is really important because we can get all excited about our goals, get very enthusiastic, feel really confident about it. As I'm fleshing out the options, it's invigorating because it's optimistic thinking. But we've got to be realistic too. Is there something that's standing in my way that I need to confront and address now so that I can really get the right result? That's so important. So we're having optimism. We're leading with that strong intent that Mike spoke about and Sophia spoke about last night. But at the same time, we want to have that realism of what does life look like now. That leads us onto this third point. It means let's look at my current reality. What does my present reality look like? You know, and so with that, let's look at the questions that I'd ask here. What's happening right now? What, when, who, and how often? If I am reaching out to new people on my contact list, well, how frequently? Who are those people? What do those conversations look like? What has the follow-up taken place? What are the results that are coming through? How does this type of behavior conflict with the other goals that you've got? Well, maybe I've got some strong retailing activity as well. What does that look like? You know, how do you balance the two? Or I've got these other goals of I need to be on this call, or I need to participate in this class, or I've got this other responsibility outside of NECAN that really pulls me and my time and my focus. Let's get this balance right. What does my present reality look like? And how does this impact my behavior with building my business? Really strong questions to be asking there. And then finally, establish the will. That's the fourth step. The final step here is for the individual that's being coached to commit, and note here what the commitment is to. I wrote this specifically, right? To commit to the specific actions that achieve their goal. Too often in NECAN, over the recent past, and I've been guilty of this too, when I've been working with people, in helping people to commit to their goals. Yes, I'm committed to going silver. Yes, I'm committed to going gold. Yes, I'm committed to going platinum. We commit to that goal, the step number 1. But step number 4 is committing to step number 2. What are the activities? Step number 4 is saying, I'm making a commitment that I will do the specific activities required to achieve the goal. Emotionally, yes, I'm all in on my goal, but we're not always all in on the activity that is required to achieve it. And unfortunately, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I'm committed really to the aspirational goal of me losing about 14 pounds. I want to do that. Am I committed to the specific activities on a daily basis that will make that happen? Not as strongly. Why? My willpower's getting in the way. There's too much nice food here in Irvine, right? So it compromises me. My will is not what it should be. So we need to align our will with the activity required. So what questions am I going to ask here? What will you do now? When? I want to get specific about right up front. How does this impact you today? This goal, this commitment. What else are you committing to do to achieve your goal? What will stop you from moving forward? How will you overcome this? Don't just identify the problem or the barrier. What is your solution to the problem? How are you going to motivate yourself? Notice that me as the coach here, I'm not the one that's there to motivate you. I'm the one to help you achieve your goals by facilitating, asking questions so that you can discover, you can get motivated, you can achieve, you can become. How will you motivate yourself? When this gets hard, when you get this barrier, what are you going to do to inspire yourself? When do you need to review your progress? How often do we need to check in? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? That will vary from person to person. Okay. So take a screenshot of that if you wish. Of course, I can, this will be available on the recording. But can you see how that can help? Those types of questions, that type of process can take anyone from where they are to where they want to be. And my focus is on getting some short to midterm goals achieved. Yeah, we've got long-term big aspirations, but you can see how that is really focused on what are some next critical milestones in my business. That's so important. I want to help some people to achieve some next critical milestones in their business. And I want to highlight something here too, because I'm mindful that there are people on this call that will have different ranks and different sizes of business, different tenure, different strengths, different levels of leadership ability and capacity, and so on. I am not measuring who I pick based on rank, tenure, title, or anything like that, okay? I want to find 5 people that are seriously committed, that can say more than anything. Step number 4, if you want someone that's going to make a commitment to the action, to the activity, I'm in. We all have great goals. We all have big aspirations. I want those that have got the strongest commitment to point number 4, that they will commit to the activity required to get their business to the next step. And like I said, those milestones can be, they're the short and the midterm steps. And I think that can really feed into, as a part of those plans, whatever those goals are, they should feed into that monthly Zoom in event where we can get people present and seeing the overarching support system of the team, of the collective, so that you don't feel like you're building your business on your own. You'll get the coach here on a regular basis with me, and like I said, with a couple of others, but you'll also get those types of events where the collective group supports your overarching activity as well, where you can bring customers or business partners or prospective business partners to presentations that you can have confidence are being done professionally with testimonials that come from the heart. I'm sure most of you guys that have been that are on the call today were on the calls, these last couple of calls, these last Zoom in events, or maybe you caught the recordings. I love them. I am so proud when I get off that call of the people that I partner with in NECAM. It's what makes me love this business so much. It's the people. And if you can get your people to come along and check that out and see what a great team they can be a part of, that's a good thing. It'll be a benefit. It'll be a strength to you. It'll help you to achieve your goals. Yeah, and that's what we want. We want to help you to achieve your goals. So this is something that I believe will really make a difference in the gap. Yeah, we've got these events that work, from this date to that date, from month to month, that we can really build our business with. But critically, what happens in between? I want to find a few people that I can say, let's do this. Let's link up. Let's link arms, and let's do this together. If you're really committed to step number 4, the will to act, the will to act. If you do that, we'll do it. And like I said, we'll set the time frame for how long that would make sense. And after I've gone through that with 5 people, or as one person drops off because they've achieved that goal, they're ready to do something else on their own, I'll pick up another person. We'll do it again with someone else. So for any of the other leaders on the call, you've seen the model that we've talked about here. Any thoughts from your end on this? Do you want to unmute your line?
I think it's a great idea. Also, it's very timely. I mean, we're starting a new quarter. For those that are setting some goals for the incentives, that's awesome. I like the idea of only working with a select number of people that are committed to doing this. I've found usually in my Nikan career, that's the best way to do that. Then there's a bigger connection there. So you actually together get more accomplished.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm 100% in favor of specific, I can't even say the word, but you know what I mean.
Specificity.
Specificity, yes. Because my experience in Nikan has been generalities don't work. I'll give an example. You host a general call and, everybody wants to see what it's all about. And then it becomes a general call that's sort of in the ambient, in the background, that's not really a focal point for anybody. So whether they're there or they're not there becomes second nature to whatever else they're doing. But if it's specific and it's goal specific, which in my opinion, I've never had a better business than a growing business than when I was actively involved in helping people achieve goals. That's always been the case. And then when we soften the edge on that and become more about being part of the collective, the feel good, fuzzy, warm feeling, while we all enjoy that, it's not very good for productivity. So I think that opening a pathway for those who want to really make an honest commitment to themselves is important so that they don't fall through the cracks of the generality. So I'm totally in favor of that. I'll be doing my own. In fact, I've sort of been nudging and hinting to my Team Canada chat that chat is no longer serving the purpose. So I will be using that time frame, which is a 10 p.m. Eastern time frame, for some specific goals and goal achievement on behalf of a handful of people.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. I think, what's that saying? When we deal with generalities, we rarely have success. When we deal with specifics, we rarely have a failure. Yeah. And I think this just helps us get a little specific. I just want to conclude with this point. There's been a few private chats come through to me on this call. I want you to know that I've noted them. I've acknowledged that I've spotted it. If you could please message me outside of this Zoom chat, and we'll set up a time to talk so that we can flesh out what you're really seeking to achieve, what your goals are, what you're wanting to get from this. Then we can go from there. And so please reach out to me privately. I think everyone here has my details. I will, just in case, put my email address in the chat, so you can grab that if you don't have it. I think most people do. If not, of course, you can reach me on Facebook very easily, Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. So if you can't find me by any of those three, something is seriously wrong. So please just reach out, let me know. We'll identify where you're at and how we can move forward, and we'll go from there. I really believe that this can make a difference for those that want some different results. That's my focus. I want to help you get some better results. And doing this would make me feel wonderful in being a part of that journey with you. So thank you so much. And I look forward to being with you next week. Take care.